You don't need to have it all figured out and be perfect in order to be good enough. You don't need to be perfect in order to be good enough. What I want to talk about today is perfectionism as well as imposter syndrome. So 2 days ago, I was speaking at the Boston, Massachusetts NAMI. It's a just a chapter of a bigger organization. They focus on mental health, mental awareness, things of that sort. And afterwards, everybody loved it. The speech was fantastic. My words were flowing. My mind was clear. Everything went exactly as I had planned in my mind. But shortly after, I'm celebrating, I'm enjoying, I'm really proud of myself. Then it's like this little voice pops up and goes, "Yeah, but that was one time. Yeah, but that was only that one place. Yeah, but this." The irony, though, is for those of you who don't know, my name's Lawrence. I'm a youth empowerment speaker. In other words, for the last 4 years, I have specialized in helping teens and young adults build self love, confidence, and a positive outlook on life. I've spoken inside of schools, I've spoken in churches, I've gone up on stages, I've done podcasts. If you want to interview me or bring me in for your organization or school, my email address is below. I've written books on it, which you can purchase in the description below. I do one-on-one consultation with people, which you can book in the description below. So I have all the evidence, all the credentials, all the stuff to say I am as good as I know I am. But at the same time, you have this little thought that pops up that says, yeah, but what if you're not? It's like your own little inner critic. But for me, I know that this particularly comes up when I'm doing something that's bigger than what I'm used to. Like my comfort zone, imagine it's like this. I have a big comfort zone. I can go into a church, I can go into a school, I could go in here, I could go in there. But when I do something outside of that comfort zone and I do it good, the irony though is especially when I do it really well. Like this was the first time I spoke at one of the chapters of NAM because, like I mentioned, NAMI is a big organization. They have tons of chapters. This is the first time I spoke at one of those. And what made this different was most of the people I was speaking to were in their mid to late 30s. I'm typically used to speaking to people between the ages of 13 to 25. That's where my comfort zone is. But these ones were not really high above that, but 30, 35, 40 in that age range. The older person there was in his 70s. Yet all of them loved it. So, what that means is that I can also appeal very well to a bit higher age demographic, a bigger circle. Now, when that inner critic popped up, it was saying, well, Lawrence, what if they don't like it because they're different than the audience that you're used to? What if this? What if that? And I have to remind myself to challenge that. I have to remind myself who and what I am. I have to remind myself of who and what I am. Because I didn't just start. Like I didn't just start this. I've been doing it for years and years and years. And I know that this will be a reoccurring thing. I am well aware that when I do something that's bigger and better than what I've done before, this critic will pop up inside of myself. And that's where the whole it's you versus you thing really becomes apparent. Like when you're a business owner or you're an entrepreneur or you're trying to go to the gym or you want to do something that's different than what the people around you are doing, it really is you versus you. It's a mental battle between that goal driven mindset, like that, I'm going to start my business. I'm going to lose 20 pounds. I'm going to get a 4.0 GPA. I'm going to get a high test score. And then on the other side, you have that critic of, yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, but what if this? No one in your family done it before. No one around you had done it before. Nobody around you had made this amount of money. Nobody around you was in this kind of shape. Nobody around you lived like this, or they do this career, or they go down this path. But in order for there to be a first, somebody got to be the first. And I have decided with conviction in my heart and soul that I'm going to be the first. I'm going to be the one to show my family what is really possible. Like, I'm going to be the one who my children's children's children are talking about me. That's the kind of excellence I'm trying to leave in the world. I want my children's children's children to know who I am. And they see my pictures on the wall and they're like, my great 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 grandpa, he the one who changed it all for us. He's the reason why we live different. He's the reason why people speak of him for centuries afterwards. That's the kind of person I'm trying to be. Now, when you hold yourself to such high standards, though, naturally you're going to run across that inner critic. Because, great example of this. Every day I want to send 50 emails. I send a whole lot of emails to places because I know by sheer math, somebody gonna say yes to me. If you knock on 100 doors a day, somebody gonna say yes to you. If you ask out 100 people a day, somebody gonna say yes to you. It's just math. And if nobody says yes, then you gotta analyze, okay, well, what am I saying? What am I doing? And you upgrade and you improve upon your pitch. You upgrade and improve upon your delivery. You upgrade and improve upon your video quality and what it is that you're doing in life. So, what I really want to focus in on is the fact that a lot of the people who watch my content, I be looking at y'all pages and y'all doing stuff. Y'all artists, y'all musicians, y'all rappers, y'all starting businesses. Y'all, it's just one girl who she lives out of her car and she got like 4 jobs. It's wild the kind of people I meet. But as you are holding yourself to these higher standards and you're trying to leave an impact, whether that impact be just on your family, or that impact be on the world, or that impact be on society, or you're trying to help homeless people, or whatever it is that you're trying to do, you're holding yourself to this high standard. You're going to deal with you versus you. It's like you hold yourself to these high standards. The irony, though, being that because you hold yourself to such high standards, you will make a lot of progress at the cost of having to deal with your own inner critic. Because if you say you're going to do 100 push ups every single day for a month, if on day 12 you don't do those 100 push ups, you can't say, oh, but it's just one day. Like you can say it, but your mind is focused on such a high standard that that's when that inner critic gonna pop up and say, I knew you wasn't about it. I knew you wasn't. I knew you couldn't do it. It really becomes you versus your own inner critic. And your own inner critic knows everything about you. It knows every single thing about you. And it loves to pop up and start talking. It didn't know how to talk to you. And you can't block that thing out because you know what you said you were going to do. You know you said you were making this video. That's right now I'm tired. Okay. I don't know why, but I just feel tired. But I said to myself, I'm making this video. So it's getting made. Ooh, it's getting made one way or another. Yeah, my throat just closed up. It happens. But when you're dealing with this inner critic, like, okay, we're aware of it, we know the problem. All right, Lawrence, give us a solution. Lawrence, what can we do? How do we combat this? It's really you just got to do what you say you're going to do. That's that's the best solution I have personally found when you're dealing with that inner critic and it's saying, "Oh, but," like when you're dealing with that inner critic, especially when it's focused on a goal you set out to do, saying to yourself, I have to do what I said I'm going to do. Like, I have to keep that trust to myself. Because, yes, there are things like insecurities. That's a bit different. Because your inner critic could be about how you look, it could be about your weight, it could be about so many things. But I'm focused on the inner critic of entrepreneurs. So, in entrepreneurship, you're starting your business, you're going to face things like this doubt of, can I really make that amount of money? Can I really grow my page to this amount of followers? Can I really make a product this good? And you're going to start making a couple of sales and you're going to feel really good. Then you're going to have this thought pop up of, well, what if it's not good enough? What if this? What if that? What if this? What if that? And I was reading this book called Atomic Habits. And in there is a line that says, people don't rise to the level of their habits, they fall to the level of their systems. So if every day I send out 30, 40, 50 emails, and that is a system, like it happens every single day, I do this every single day. That means that on the day when I don't feel like sending 50, fall to the system of 30. I will fall to the baseline. But what's important for us to understand too is that none of us are perfect, and that inner critic is trying to push you into perfectionism. So it's like it'll find anything to criticize. It'll say, "Yeah, you said you were going to achieve everything by 2 o'clock, but you only did it by 2:05, so that means you're so bad." That inner critic is really good at finding things to say about you. So you have to remind yourself that you don't have to be perfect. You have to remind yourself that, okay, that inner critic is going to pop up. It's unavoidable. Like, one of the most common things in successful people. So think of like ultra successful people, the billionaires of the world, the Arnold Schwarzeneggers when it comes to fitness, the people who create these massive things. There was a study done, and one of the things they all have in common is somewhere deep down, they have a crippling insecurity of something. And that crippling insecurity is what pushes them to work so hard and to achieve such big things. Now, yes, you could say that being really, really, really dedicated to your craft is a healthy way of dealing with that insecurity. And it is. However, it's insecurity nonetheless. Like this fear of never being good enough. That's mine. Part of me, sometimes that critic pops up and says, yeah, Lawrence, you did a really good job that time, but you stuttered one time in a 1 hour video. You said, you had a brain fart. You had a blank moment. You stared off into the corner. That inner critic is so good at finding stuff to say. So, my advice, really, and what I want to close this video out on, is be aware that if you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to go to the gym, you want to achieve any goal, and it's outside the comfort zone, it's something bigger than your family has ever done. Like, if you're like me, I want to genuinely be somebody that my children's children talk about. I want to leave a legacy and impact on the world so massive that I become the standard to which all other youth empowerment speakers are measured to. Like, I don't care about what Tony Robbins is doing. Good job to him. Let him do his thing. But when it comes to what I do, when it comes to focusing on teens and young adults, I am going to be the greatest there ever was. There has been none like me before, and there shall not be none after. I'm going to become the standard to which all of them are measured to. But when you hold yourself to such a high regard, when you hold yourself to such a high standard, when you say to yourself, I'm going to be somebody that leaves a impact on the world, you will come across that imposter syndrome. You'll come across that inner critic popping up and saying, yeah, that speech was really good. Yeah, that video was really good. Yeah, that video went viral. Yeah, this was great. But you can't do it again. And you got to prove it wrong. And every day you have to prove it wrong because it will always be there. I have accepted and made peace with the fact that because of the standard I hold myself to, if I slip up even once, that critic pops up, and it does. It's real good at it. It's like, yeah, Lawrence, you wrote a book on it. Yeah, Lawrence, you did this. Yeah, Lawrence, people love your videos, but you don't have 100 million reviews on your book. Yeah, Lawrence, but you only have 20 people who gave you a testimonial. Yeah, this, yeah, that. You gotta ignore the inner critic. You gotta see it, you gotta listen to it, you gotta hear it, and then be like, I'm gonna prove it wrong. And then prove it wrong every single day. Every single day you get better. Every single day you will evolve. And remind yourself that you are good enough. You don't gotta be perfect in order to be good enough. You are good enough for the simple fact that you're working on it. You are good enough for the simple fact that you're making progress. And every day you make progress, every day you get better. Believe in yourself. Love yourself. And lastly, if you'd like to buy my books, support me just through donations to my Cash App, invite me on your podcast, bring me into your school, church, organization for speaking engagements. You can find all of my information below. Have a good one.